Would someone explain to me, how are you supposed to stay with a process to arrive at a correct decision when you believe the process itself to be fatally flawed? When I came home from the public inquiry this evening, feeling tired and a bit dejected, I decided to take myself out for a walk on the nearby mountain. Yes, one of the beloved Sperrins under threat from mining. There was exploratory drilling done here less than half a mile away in the beautiful Glenhorgel. However, that's not what I want to speak about today. To get back to my walk, it was a stunning evening, soft golden light, the birds' choir in full song, new life and possibility everywhere. The grass never seemed as green, or the dandelions as golden. And the sky, for once, clear of clouds and blue, oh so blue. It was also a cold evening, with a soft breeze, and it felt good to walk hard, to clear my head of the nonsense of the day, and to return me to my why. In 20 years I'll be 87, in 20 years my granddaughter will be 24. Then when she looks at me in the eye and asks me, did you really do everything you could possibly do to leave the earth a fit place for all the generations coming behind you? I want to be able to answer with a resounding yes. Why I do this, spend endless hours sitting through a meaningless process, listening to what I believe could only be described as creative storytelling on the part of the applicant and their various representatives. Why am I there to witness us, third parties, engaging in meaningless argument and counter-argument, all built on candy floss? That's why I watch the orchestration of this dance by well-paid actors in nonsensical duet, destined to be in the stranglehold of each other's company for months to come. And that's why I believe I'm witnessing the erosion of democracy at an institutional level. I look around the room and I know in my heart and soul that these are fellow human beings with their own loves and lives, their own hearts and souls, and I ask myself, how can they allow themselves to be party to this farce? How can they go home in the evening and say to themselves, today I did a valuable day's work, I contributed to making the world a better place? Okay, so that's my rant. Here's what happened. Sometime over the weekend, Sperrins came to the collective conclusion that the bulk of the questions in the Socio-Economic section could be addressed with a single statement, which was duly delivered by Mary Brawley. Most of it, but not all, as the Commission was unwilling to hear us out to the end. This is the Sperrins statement. Commissioner, in light of developments over the last few days of the inquiries, it appears that these public inquiries will run significantly longer than anticipated. To expedite proceedings, we wish to highlight information gaps in the Dalradian Gold planning applications that make it impossible for Sperrins to engage in a meaningful manner in this process. We intend to rely on this statement henceforth and interject in proceedings by exception going forward. Number 1, our reading of the applicant's economic argument is hindered by a lack of succinct information. We submit that its extensive use of appendices and variously dated addenda creates confusion, and the information provided by the applicant over these last 3 days has not alleviated this. Number 2, clear and material deficiencies have been repeatedly identified in the provision of essential, specific and accurate quantitative data by the applicant. The data presented in this application is based upon a phantom feasibility study. In Section 3.6 of the Guide to Application document of November 2017, the applicant states that JDS Mining completed a feasibility study in late 2016, which was published in early 2017. However, this JDS 2016/17 report that provides the baseline data contained in this 2017 application has been superseded by Dalradian's own 22nd of June 2018 technical report prepared by SRK Consulting that renders all previous reports obsolete and no longer valid or current on at least 26 instances. The 2018 SRK technical report stated that updated economics for the Kurnald gold deposit will be announced in the upcoming feasibility study, expected later this year. Additionally, by letter dated 6th December 2018, Noel Lavery, Permanent Secretary of DFE, informed Graham Walker of DFI that it is anticipated that an updated feasibility study scheduled for release by the end of 2018 will outline potential impact. However, this 2018 feasibility study has not been produced, and we highlight again the applicant's continued reliance upon obsolete, invalid and outdated pre-2018 information before this commission. Over the past few days, we've heard some conflating a feasibility study with terms such as economic benefits or impacts. In referencing TR5 and RR14, we believe that any attempt to reduce the macro-level cost-benefit analysis that underpins an independent feasibility study to such an addendum is wholly unacceptable and somewhat disingenuous. The issue of the feasibility study is of utmost material importance to the public inquiry. It is integral to the due diligence expected by the public of the government departments assessing an application of this magnitude and must be subjected to robust scrutiny by this Commission. Additionally, the prejudicial impact of the absence of a feasibility study cannot be ignored. We believe that public opinion has been prejudiced since June 2018 in that Ernst Young's Socio-Economic Impact Review of the Kurnald Gold Project fails to reference the 2018 SRK technical report, instead referencing a different 2017 SRK Statement of Environmental Impacts. Dalradian references this report in its marketing materials as a significant and a timely stimulus for the Northern Ireland economy. Such a report by a Big Four consultancy company does influence public opinion, but interestingly does not reference the 2018 SRK technical report. Again, we submit that in the absence of complete and reliable baseline data, you and we the public cannot properly or lawfully assess the likely economic viability of this application. Furthermore, we have raised concerns regarding the non-usage of standard mining industry standards in the analysis of data presented by the applicant. Instead, the applicant has relied upon a bespoke economic model to which neither the public nor the commissioners have had access. To date, information and input details regarding the bespoke economic model used by the applicant have not been provided. The psychometric properties of that measurement model that assure the user of its reliability and validity have also not been provided. This absence of complete information is procedurally unfair and prevents you, the commissioners, and us, the public, from properly assessing the information provided by the applicant. We submit that in the absence of same, no weight can properly be attached to the entire application. Having listened to the evidence on behalf of Dalradian over the last few days, SOS raises concerns that information now being provided on behalf of the applicant may be considered an attempt to update in real time the application already before the commissioners. For example, we have recently heard proposals resale of concentrate at the gates to brokers or possible onward transportation to smelters, none of which has been verified. In summary, we believe that the continued reliance by the applicant upon obsolete reports that are no longer valid or current makes it impossible for the public and commissioners to make a serious economic appraisal of this application. We submit that all further discussions of the remaining topics within this section have been so severely compromised by the applicant's inadequate data, uncertain measurement model, Misleading marketing materials coupled with DFI's failure to recognise that this complex application lies outside the skill set and expertise of its own officers. We believe it would be a matter of gross negligence to assert any socio-economic claims about GVA, public revenues, multipliers, etc., based upon ever-fluctuating and unclear information provided by the applicant regarding issues that are fundamental to their operational cost basis and the subsequent economic impact or benefits claimed. Significant issues have been identified regarding the lack of clarity of the costs associated with the makeup of the concentrate it intends to sell, the lifespan of the mine, and especially the dry stack mine waste facility maximisation, the cut-off grade of gold ore being applied, the location of the cyanide processing plant, the strength of cyanide, what chemicals are used in the processing, the tariffs applicable when the concentrate is exported, the number and location of exploratory tunnels that are applied for, and whether the concentrate will be sold at the mine gate to a broker, and if so, the details thereof, and the future impact of any labour-saving devices, such as AI or the mechanisation of manual labour. We submit that given the clear gaps in baseline data already identified to date, plus lack of supporting evidence in the application, the public, let alone the Commission, cannot lawfully and properly assess this application and its impacts, and we submit that the application before the PAC is not fit for robust public scrutiny and should not have been placed before the PAC by the DFI. Regrettably, from the evidence heard over the last few days, we also believe that the DFI are not equipped to process this application, to make any independent assessment of this application, or to assess the adequacy or otherwise of the information it has received from the applicant. We are of the view that its progression before the Commission risks undermining the integrity of this process. We invite the Commission to consider all of our submissions at this stage, as we believe that the application presently before it is fundamentally flawed and not fit for scrutiny. We should rely on this statement from time to time and propose to speak in proceedings only by exception to expedite proceedings and in an effort to protect the public purse from further unnecessary expenditure. Fair play to you, and thank you. If you've taken the time to listen this far, you might well understand that there isn't a whole lot more that we can say, and all we can be is present in the public inquiry, witnessing this tragic comedy. Who knows what the outcome will be? By the way, plenty more happened today, but as these podcasts about the public inquiry are designed to be pretty brief, I'm going to leave it here for now. If you're curious about what else happened, it will be up on the Don't Mind Us website within 48 hours. See you tomorrow.